All right, welcome back to the channel. We got some bad news. As according to reports put out by Gervonta Davis's camp, Vasyl Lomachenko apparently has pulled out of their negotiations and allowed for the step aside to take place so Shakur Stevenson can fight Gervonta Davis. Let's talk about that in this video. Man, I can't wait to see the next fight for Gervonta Davis, whether it is Vasyl Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson next. I think that either one of those fights are going to be very, very good fights. However, the chance of one of them being better than the other is still there. And it's unfortunate that at least according to reports, Vasyl Lomachenko is backed out of the Gervonta Davis fight. Now, before I get into it, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you guys so much for your continued support. Makes a big difference to the channel for sure, for sure. Shout out to my guy, Matty Yolen. Oh, super thanks. Thank you for continuing to support the channel. Jeff Miller and everybody else as we wait for the big fights to get made, man. But we did have a fight last night with Shakur Stevenson and Arthur Hartunian. And it was it was a boxing match. It was in a boxing event. Not the most exciting main event in the world. A horrific robbery took place on that card. Predictable robbery, but horrific robbery nonetheless of O'Shaquie Foster, who I thought won that fight pillar to post against Robson Conceição. But, split decision win for Robinson Conceição. Seems to me like they've been trying to get rid of O'Shaquie. They've been trying to rip off O'Shaquie for several fights now. But whatever the case is, man, good night of boxing. But this morning, woke up to a note that was sent to me and captioned from Kenny Ellis's Instagram page, which said that Vasyl Lomachenko decided to step aside so that Gervonta Davis can fight Shakur Stevenson in late 2024, and Lomachenko can fight the winner in 2025. Man, that answers a lot of questions because, obviously it was, who is Gervonta going to fight next? And everybody was believing it was Vasyl Lomachenko because that's what all the word had been out of ESPN, out of Gervonta's camp. But to see Vasyl Lomachenko just get out of the way like that, maybe Vasyl Lomachenko's hoping Shakur beats Gervonta, and then he can get in there and fight against a much less dangerous opponent in Shakur Stevenson. And that's why he's doing it. But whatever it is, it's kind of a suspect move from Vasyl Lomachenko's, if this is true. Got to say out there if it's true, because people have been saying that Gervonta was the problem making that fight for so long, and then now that it's time for the fight to take place, is Vasyl Lomachenko the one that's pulling out and saying, yeah, okay, how about you go fight this other guy, this other guy that's younger, fresher than I am, and then I'll come in and I'll get the winner. Nah, man, I'm not really feeling that out of Vasyl. I'm not really feeling that out of Vasyl. As far as the fight itself, either one of those fights are good fights for me. I mean, I'm not going to be upset with Gervonta if he fights Shakur. And I wouldn't have been upset with Gervonta if he fought Vasyl Lomachenko. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of pushback on the fight with Shakur now because Shakur's last couple performances haven't been the most spectacular. This last fight that he had with Artunian was better than the fight with Edwin De Los Santos, but still, living in the shadow of Tank, where all of Tank's fights wind up being these really exciting affairs with, with brutal knockouts and devastating punches getting thrown. Shakur Stevenson's does not have that specific talent that Gervonta Davis has. So you wind up seeing him in a dominant performance against Arturum for sure. I mean, he beat him. I don't know if Arturum won a round. I mean, I think there may have been a couple rounds that one judge gave to Arturum very, very strangely. But, he just dominated the entire fight, man. The first couple rounds wind up being, kind of it was, not particularly exciting, like non-eventful is the word that I was looking for, with a bunch of kind of positioning back and forth, trying to figure out the very awkward pacing and kind of jumping around that Arturum was doing. But around the third and the fourth, the fifth, Shakur Stevenson started figuring it out. Between the sixth round and the eighth round, I was like, okay, this guy might actually get Arturum out of there. But Arturum was a strong fighter and, withheld the barrage and then actually kind of pushed back on Shakur a little bit. And when he pushed back on Shakur kept his hands, in his pockets, maybe in the eighth. I think it might have been the eighth and the ninth round. But then, Shakur started and he was walking him down the entire fight, but he started landing bigger shots. He was willing to get hit a couple more times to allow himself to open up and really land some shots on Arturum, and wound up taking some punishment because of it. But at the end of the day, he did what he was supposed to do. I don't really know if that's really going to make the Gervonta Davis fight particularly exciting. I'm sure people are still going to worry that when he was against Arturum, who's not the biggest puncher in the world, that he was willing to stay. Shakur was willing to stay there and fight him. Will he be doing the same thing against Gervonta? Probably not, man. Probably not. You're probably still going to see a lot of that bicycle type of stuff go on. So, it's probably not going to be a fight that people are really, really amped up about. I think it'll do really well. I mean, people are going to buy tickets to the fight. People are going to do what they're going to do to it, to a Gervonta Davis fight. But there's a high likelihood in that fight could be a snoozer, and that Shakur could put a snooze button on that fight and try to sneak out of there with a win instead of, going out there and really beating up on Gervonta Davis. But at the end of the day, man, I'll take either one. It's kind of disappointing to me, though, with the Vasyl Lomachenko action, because I thought I was going to get to see that fight next. Hopefully, Kenny is wrong in this particular instance, or he's trolling. But it is what it is. You let me know what you think about the fight changing from Gervonta to Lomachenko in the comment section. It'd be greatly appreciated. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.